So they just announced that the main action is gonna happen on the Broken Isles, and I just have this picture up if you can see it on stream. Um, I find it funny how like Dalaran. By the way, they didn't explain why Dalaran is there. They just said that Jaina was mad or some shit. They didn't said anything.
Actually, they didn't do the full explanation, but they mentioned something. They said that Jaina left. They
Yeah.
didn't go over the whole thing. They just said she is pissed. She left. Khadgar took now leadership of the Kirin Tor, and he basically needed a foundation ground that which with
Yeah.
which travel to that point.
Yeah, I get.
So it's like the old things, but in a newer version,
Yeah,
new leadership.
I just find it funny how is like they had Warlords of Draenor, which is basically old Outland revamped, and even though this is like a whole new zone, they will probably have Dalaran as a main city, just like they had in Wrath of the Lich King. And even how like his position just in the middle, kind of in the middle of or like the old zones, brings me like memories back from the Wrath of the Lich King. Because what's different is basically it's just a bit down. It's not really in the middle, but it's still like really close to all of the zones. So my guess is they really understood that we need like main cities and fuck garrisons, and they added like okay, like we can do like Dalaran, okay? We can make up a bullshit story about Jaina, and we can bring Dalaran. It's like really convenient, right?
Yeah, well, ever
And
since Burning Crusade was introduced, they had a neutral city, Shatrak City. Then in Wrath of the Lich King, they did Dalaran. They did the story, everything, both the Horde and the Alliance in the same place. They had like 80% of the map was open to everyone. Like 10% to the Alliance, 10% to the Horde, just so they have their individual portals and vendors and other stuff. Like, I mean, innkeepers and
yeah,
stuff like that for
uh,
daily quests and so on. And now they understand, okay, we need to bring that back. We need World of Warcraft. It's what we discussed a few days ago. We need World of Warcraft back, not Zone of Warcraft, not the Garrisons of Warcraft or stuff like that. So props to
yeah.
them for doing it.
I'm not gonna go too deep into like the whole zones because you probably heard it, but I'm really excited for like the layer of Neltharion, which is like basically their thing. That should be like really big and really cool. I'm also excited for um like the
That's
first.
a that's a dungeon.
Yeah, but they say that's gonna be something in game, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
guessing that just like every entry to a dungeon, there's gonna be some like really like, some really cool art uh, in the world. So other than that, I'm really excited for Azuna because they said something about the Queen Ashara and how he got her hands on the last on like on one of the pillar of the creation, and we have
Yes.
to kick her ass. That's really cool. And what else? Like Valshar, it's gonna be the not the starting zone, but it's gonna be the zone with the whole Emerald Dream Night Elf storyline, and I'm guessing it's gonna be the place for the first raid that they
Yeah, it
announced.
makes sense because
Yeah, it makes sense to be there.
they said that it's going to be focused around Cenarius as the protagonist, and the antagonist is going to be Savius. Xavius being obviously one of the key members of the Legion on Azeroth. He has been here for thousands of years. He was a highborn, and he became the first. I forgot exactly
It's fine. Doesn't
what
matter.
his race is called. Anyway, he's gonna be the main boss. So we start, slowly. We build ourselves up towards higher ranks of the higher ranks of the Burning Legion, facing Gul'dan next. He is not necessarily someone of tremendous, individual power. No person that controls the Legion, but he is uh, the channel. He's the
He's
the
like basically
intermediary.
just a really evil, cheesy bastard that corrupts everyone to fight for him, something like that.
Yes, he
It's
he's
not.
like the Judah. He's like the he basically corrupted everything, and he broke the links with his civilization, with his kind, and now he serves the Legion. He as you heard in the cinematic at the end of the raid, current raid in 6.2. He has a pact with the Legion, and he has to respect it. It doesn't matter if head of the Legion dies, the pact needs to be respected, and the will of the Legion, which is
Okay.
basically the will of Sargeras, needs to be fulfilled.
Anyway, fuck him. Doesn't matter. Um, Demon Hunters. I'm
Oh
like
my
I'm
God,
I'm
yes,
like
Demon.
so fucking excited about this. It's not just because they're like hunters, but they seem to like nail it, okay? They realize that they can't really do three specs with this class because if you're gonna do like two DPS packs, they're gonna be like very similar, and maybe one of them will lose identity. And
Yes,
what they admit and said, okay, we're just gonna do two specs. We're gonna have Havoc and Vengeance, a DPS and a tanking spec. I'm so excited about this. The play style is similar to like I don't know. It looks like some kind of rogue combined
it's like a
with
trickster. It's like
yeah, yeah.
a rogue, but a trickster type of, very mobile, very agile, very sloppy. He just dashes all over the place, and
Yeah.
then he bursts you down. He has a lot of CC, a lot of survivability.
It's actually a really cool combination between Rogue, Hunter, and Warlock, in my opinion, just
Yes.
because you have those like really agile mechanics, ability to get in a fight, but at the same time you've seen how you have Vault, an ability that actually disengage you from a fight, something that Rogue doesn't really have. Rogue is like more to close into a target. Demon Hunters can disengage as well, and at the same time they have the whole metamorphosis, fell damage. You've seen some fell damage, spell damage done. So
Yeah.
it's basically a really cool combination between Rogue,
Well, they
Hunter,
haven't
and Warlock.
touched, like, they haven't really explained metamorphosis, so that's probably going to happen in the future. We are not sure exactly how we're going to get it. It's like an ultimate ability or
Yeah,
just something that you build up to
yeah.
and
My,
then you
my guess is that I don't think that they're gonna make it a point click ability or like transformation. You'll have to build something up. So we all know that like Demon Hunter use Demonic Fury to cast spells. That's basically their like
resource
mana
bar.
resource bar. So my guess is that when you're gonna get to some point when you're gonna be so filled with Demonic Fury, you're actually gonna transform, and you will be able to control that for to some extent, but you're not gonna be able to use it earlier, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
you'll
just
have
not
to
like
build.
go into the fight and pop metamorphosis and be like,
Yeah.
I don't, hopefully,
Yeah, and
hopefully.
another cool ability that I had to note down was actually the Spectral Sight, which reveals any fucking enemy in stealth, and you can see through walls.
It's like
That's
Black Ops.
that's like
It's like,
so fucking
oh,
cool, dude.
we have night vision. We can see you bitches. We
That's like
cannot hide
so
behind
fucking
that
cool.
wall. I just want to point something out about the specs. When they introduced Death Knights back in Wrath of the Lich King, people had trouble identifying which spec is the DPS one and which one is the tank spec because you had like this. Back in the day, people were tanking in Frost spec, and then Blizzard came and said, "No, no, no, no! You are doing it all wrong. Blood was intended for DPS, and the other two for. Sorry, Blood was intended for tanking, and the
Yeah,
other two for DPS. And the fact that they actually simplified things, look, this is the spec, this is for DPS, this is the one for tanking. It's going to make things a lot more easier, and it's going to help the player base uh, decide, I am going to play tank. This is the spec. I don't need to worry. I just need to learn my rotation, my cooldowns, and everything. I don't need to worry about spec, breaking down
yeah.
and which does the bigger numbers and stuff like that. But back on the topic about what you were saying.
Yeah, well, we kind of like said everything about the one. I'm really interested. I mean, we've seen some abilities and they look pretty cool. I'm really curious to see how they make the whole metamorphosis, um, like transformation all about. That's pretty much like the whole.
Yeah, maybe they
whole
revamp the
point.
system. It's not just it's a 3 minute cooldown or a 2 minute cooldown ability. Just press it, you got wings, and then 20 seconds later, it don't make it classic type of ability.
Yeah, no, I think
Change it a bit.
like I said, I think that you have to build it up, but at the same time it's not gonna break by itself because that will probably suck in PvP. But you'll have like a window of opportunity to like control it to some extent, but at the same time not you're not able to use it as early as you want. You need time to build it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But
Also,
that
talking
yeah.
about classes, they said about something about uh, some revamped type of garrisons, like player housing in the
Yeah,
form
we'll
of
get there. We'll
class
get there. We'll
orders.
get there. We'll get there. Let's take. I know. I can't wait to talk about that. But let's take it step by step. Let's talk a bit about the new PvP system. They will basically rechange, not rechange, revamp or whatever you want the
Yeah,
PvP
it's like
honor system.
PvP version 3.
I'm really excited about this because I don't really like the PvP system, like honor system at all. It feels really old and boring. Uh, that being said, though, I'm not really sure how good it's gonna be the next one.
I'm actually surprised of the fact that they did the change now. It's been so many years with the version 2, and only now they say, "Oh, let's make an individual talent tree just for PvP." To balance things out. PvE won't be influenced. Nothing else will change. People that want PvP will have access to it at any point. Just do this. And I think it makes sense. I think it's going to help them differentiate PvE and PvP furthermore. And it will help balance things out, not only between like PvE and PvP, but between classes, between specs. I can spec into this if I need more defensive cooldowns. I can spec into this if I want to be more offensive. At the same time, I am, in order to take something, I am giving something up. It's a
Yeah.
cool concept. We'll see exactly how it pans out.
What are they gonna do with the gear, though? They're gonna keep the gear? I don't think that they're gonna keep the gear. So basically, the only I don't know difference will be that they'll have the PvP talents, which will enhance some major PvP abilities, right? Because
Probably.
They're not gonna have the PvP gear anymore.
I,
They
I, I
just
really hope they
removed.
won't. I really hope they
Well,
won't.
they just removed conquest and honor points basically with this system.
But they said something. They said that there is going to be a artifact version of the weapon
Yeah,
that is specific to PvP.
yeah,